What's up, Warriors fans? It's your main man, Max, here with Warriors Latest. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button if you like what you hear, because I post new Warriors videos daily. Now, it's been an interesting 24 hours for Dub Nation as we lost another free agent to the Clippers. And this time, it was Bradley Beal. Now, while I'm not upset that Beal didn't join the Warriors because I was just not certain of his fit with the team, I was just like, it could go either way. I'm more concerned because this makes the Clippers a more legitimate threat in the West. Now, prior to that, I didn't think the Clippers. I think they got a little lucky, but they lost steam at the end of last year, so I wasn't overly concerned as them being a threat. But now that they brought in Bradley Beal to replace Norman Powell while also bringing in John Collins, I am getting a little worried because they might become the team of LA. Like, they have a great starting five. Look at it. It is James Harden. It is Bradley Beal. It is Kawhi Leonard in his natural three position. It is John Collins stretching things at the four. And then it's Ivan Zubac manning the middle. And remember, Ivan Zubac averaged a double-double, averaging 16 and 12 last year. So he's not just some throw-in center anymore. He's actually evolved and become a really great player. Now, what worries me is because we think about who the Warriors have to get past. I never really thought of the Clippers as a threat. I thought, all right, we got to figure out the Timberwolves. They were a problem for us last year. We're going to have to go through Houston at one point or another. And even though we have their number, they have Kevin Durant now, and that's a little worrying because of how long and athletic they are. Oklahoma City, yes, just because they are the reigning champs, you're going to have to go through them. And then you have the Nuggets, and you can never really discount Joker. But now that the Clippers have Beal, I am a little worried because the Warriors haven't done anything yet either. So we're still waiting for them to make their first move, and I don't like the fact that we're still trying to figure things out. Like, oh, what's going to happen with Kuminga? Oh, what are we going to do over here? What's going on over there? We're still standing pat and waiting for a move, and we're 3 weeks into free agency. So that's a bit of a problem for me. So we got to see what's going on. But the good news out of this is that this move really pushes the Clippers being the team of LA over the Lakers, which also pushes another big question that the Warriors need moving forward, which is what is going to happen with LeBron. And as far as we know, he hasn't requested a buyout yet. He hasn't requested a trade, likely because he is he's over vacationing. Like, he doesn't care what the people are talking about over the summer. His decision is going to be made come training camp. My money says that come training camp, LeBron's going to come in, talk to Jeanie Buss. It's like, Jeanie, I get it. You're trying to build around Luka. It's not working out. Let's work on a deal to get me out of here. Like, if that's a buyout, sure. If that's a trade, let's see what's out there. But I prefer the buyout. At least give some money back, and like, he leaves in good graces. I'd say he leaves LA in good graces if he gives half the money back, because you're not going to give up all of it to just go to another team. It's a business too. You do want to get the money that you are owed. So I definitely see that happening. But LeBron doesn't care what's going on right now. He is just completely busy in his own world, training, getting ready for next season. Yes, under the assumption that he'll stay in LA, but let's be honest. It's an inevitability that he goes to Golden State, because what's the one thing we've learned over the last 20 years about LeBron? What LeBron wants, LeBron gets. And LeBron wants to win a championship, one, and he wants to play with Steph Curry, two, which leads a buyout as the only option to make that happen. And if that costs a little bit of money, I'm fairly certain he's willing to bite the bullet to win another title, because the money is always going to be there for him post-career. So it's not going to be that big of a concern. He's done so well in his business career that $25 million back isn't going to amount to that much. I believe he is at least valued at $1 billion or 1.3, something like that. I'm not entirely sure at the moment. I don't have the numbers, but he's going to do what he wants, and we're going to see this play out in early September. But that brings me to, I guess, the elephant in the room for the Warriors moving forward, which is Jonathan Kuminga. Now, we've seen like other teams, they're making offers for him, but they're just lowball offers. I still remember seeing that offer from Sacramento, and I'm like, if you're really that interested in him, Sacramento, give him DeMar DeRozan. Just do it. Give DeMar DeRozan, let's say, maybe that first round or second round picks that you offered in the previous trade, and that's it. Because if you want to trade Kuminga, trade him for somebody who's a legitimate threat that can add to the Warriors. Don't just give him up for nothing. And if the Kings or like say the Heat or any other team that makes an offer, they don't start upping the offer or upping the ante, I think it's the best course of action to hold on to Kuminga, sign him to that short 2-year deal, maybe like have a large contract, and maybe trade him at the deadline, because we know that, yeah, he's not really having much value right now in restricted free agency, and teams don't really, let's say they don't not see the value, they just aren't as interested because they're looking to do other things. And say the season gets started, certain things happen, a team makes an offer for Kuminga knowing that, okay, we still have to win this year, but let's see how we can make things better. They're looking for a young player, or they realize it's going to be a rebuilding year. One idea I like to throw out is, I don't like the idea, but it is an interesting one, trading Kuminga to the Celtics for Anthony Simmons. And that's not the worst idea, since Simmons is an expiring contract, but it's just you don't get much back aside from that. And I don't fully embrace it, but I think the Warriors should also start looking at other teams that haven't really thought about being interested but might be more interested, like the Trailblazers or something along that sort. But they will find a way to either bring him back and then move him later, or move him immediately. For me right now, it's best to bring him back, see what he can do to start out the season. If you do bring LeBron in, have LeBron or have Kuminga learn under LeBron and see what he can do, because I believe that's going to at least improve his trade value at the very minimum. And then next thing you know, you bring in some bench pieces, some rotation pieces, maybe a pick or two. All right, you get what you want, but you just don't get it right now. But when I think about it, bottom line is the Warriors have to start going after players. They can't just stand pat anymore. The Clippers are going after everybody that they can to get better. Like, the same goes for all other teams. The Warriors just can't be sitting around. Yes, we know something is cooking, but every time we say something is cooking, like they did actually make an offer to Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal chose to go to the Clippers, I think mostly because of his family, but you have to start just throwing offers out there, setting deadlines, and going from there. And you've got to start investing. And by investing, I mean going after those diamond in the rough guys, like the ones I like to talk about. I go after the Imani Bates, the Brandon Boston Juniors, the Johnny Juzangs. We're trading for a guy whose value is extremely low and then moving things up from there. What would actually be funny is if they re-sign Kuminga and then trade him for Joel Embiid. Now, Joel's value could never be lower, but his just price tag is way too high. But that's just a thought. That would be funny as hell. And I'd love to see it, but it's probably not going to happen. But the Warriors do need to start investing in the players that they want to bring in, start building the team out a little more, aside from the few guys that they do have. I feel like they're waiting for players to go on like full bargain bin clearance, or even to the point where they're at goodwill. And yes, you can find some great players at that price, or to use the metaphor, you can find some great things at goodwill, but this is the NBA. So you gotta lock things in, know what the continuity is moving forward, and then just sign those guys. And I would prefer that they just sign Amani Bates and Brandon Bossett Jr., but end of the day, it's up to Mike Dunleavy. And that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And if you want to talk some smack in the comments, go right ahead, because I love to hear from you guys and the trade ideas that you love to put out there. So as always, thanks for listening, and go Dubs.